Hi, it's Kirby Summers. Today is August 30th, 2025, and I am here to share with you the fact that I am having a 30% off end of summer sale. Pretty much, I managed to finish 3 books this year. Namely, gosh, can you believe I finished 3 books this year? Gerald Ford, MK Ultra, Merchant of Death, Leslie Wexner, and Chasing Chandler, about Rachel Chandler's family history. And I wanted to do something special, because the season is almost over. I mean, in the United States, we have Labor Day. I look at it as end of summer day, and I rarely have a sale. So I am having 30% off on these books. Now, these also happen to be some of my more best selling books. And I'm going to just share a little bit with you guys, and I just want to just put myself, I'm learning how to play around with this StreamYard thing, and I think I'm getting the hang of it. I was able to get rid of the StreamYard sign, which is terrific. So, like former President Gerald Ford has really strange ties to the Franklin child abuse allegations, to other PDF rings, to MK Ultra spy Candy Jones, to the production of what I refer to as Stepford Wives. So, for example, I was able to find the wives of very prominent men who have been presidents, as well as very highly placed men who have a connection to Ford. It's just, I was quite surprised myself. Also, I found connection and photographs with Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. There are connections to Marilyn Monroe, to Johnny Gosh. Insane. Nobody else, I think, has found this. And of course, I talk about the CIA's Project Artichoke, but also other projects that have been going on that have not been looked at very carefully. Now, the reviews have been great. I'm going to share one of them with you. And this is from Carl, long-time reader, long-term reader of my Substack. He's like stunning, jaw-dropping, awesome. Love these Kirby tangents. You think it's going in a certain manner, and boom, Kirby drags you by the scruff of the neck, off onto another angle, all the while laying together and filling in the pieces of this sorted puzzle. And I mean, the reviews have been just simply, I mean, they're very humbling, to be frank. And then, let's talk a little bit about Merchant of Death, Leslie Wexner. We all know who Leslie Wexner is. More and more, I'm seeing that he's in the news. Now, in 1992, Wexner, multi-billionaire owner of L Brands, and at the time, JE and he got together, let's say. He owned the largest women's retailer in the world. Now, of course, we know that among its holdings were Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie and Fitch. And by the way, the Abercrombie and Fitch led me in my Substack down the Beatles rabbit hole. And the Beatles thing is going to be a book on its own, hopefully within the next few months. Uh, However, he sold Epstein the oversized guest house on his massive estate in New Albany for $3.5 million. And then he buys it back in 1998 for $8 million. Now, this is not an arbitrary number because of the island, Little St. James. What does it cost? It costs $7.95 million. So, like, there seems to be some intentional. Oh, he gets $8 million from Wexner. He turns around immediately and he spends the same, literally almost the same amount of money to buy the island. So, but this just scratches the surface because I go into all kinds of symbolic things that happen, things that one can say are ritualistic, things that are not described in mainstream media. And, I refer to these people, especially Wexner, who is very much in the background and hasn't really been made to say anything publicly except for his written commentary that, oh, clutching his pearls, I knew nothing, just like Glenn. She knows nothing. She saw nothing. She can say nothing. Well, my deep dive shows that he came from a long line of criminals. When they came to the United States, some of them were immediately arrested for their really bad behavior. Do you change your stripes? Do you carry criminality in your blood? I would say yes. And apparently all of the very wealthy people that I've studied, they owe their money, their status, their prestige to criminality. So that's on sale as well. And let me just see. I have here a review, and that's from Deborah. Kirby cannot thank you enough for your work and steadfastness. I have learned so much from you. Wow, this one is jam packed with information. You really do go into the nooks and crannies. Brilliant. And then the other one that I finished earlier this year is Chasing Chandler, and it's the second edition. I had written it a couple of years ago. It is about the Chandler family and their history. It's basically a condensed biographical history of this dynasty, the owners of the Los Angeles Times, but not just that. They were at one time the largest property owners within the United States. They just owned the most property. They built the city of Los Angeles according to their needs and desires. None of the Chandlers ever had to run for office as politicians because, like, they had people like Richard Nixon who they made into a president. They had people like Ronald Reagan who they made into a president. And by the way, I don't believe in either the blue party or the red party or any other party in any other country because all of this transcends political lines and also, national lines and international lines and boundaries of countries and so on and so forth. However, the Chandlers turned the once beautiful expanse of Los Angeles into a city of crime and corruption. This is like the real LA Confidential, and how these various forces created um, uh, child transportationers, such as JE, but he's not the only one, as we know. And this is like literally the embodiment of this SATAI. I'm sorry, I have to spell that again. SATANIC elite, because we know that is a real thing that some people seem to just not want to discuss. And Professor Hamamoto, who has been a member of my Substack forever, wrote the Otis bloodline connects its power lineage from Boston Brahmin, Western Reserve, i.e., Ohio. And of course, Ohio, not only is it the place where the Wexner family settled, but we also have all of the, like, we have Facebook there. We have all these, like us. I'm just going to call them spy agencies. I don't know. You can call them tech. I call them spy agencies. Okay. Tomato, tomato. Okay. Um, and then he goes on to say expansion at the expense of native civilization. And finally, the crown jewel, Los Angeles as the front door to the Asia Pacific global empire, which is correct. I mean, all we have to do is remember Vietnam and know how we have the golden triangle and the importation of certain substances. I'll leave it there. And then he writes Rachel Chandler, the handler. You nailed it. And so I bring this to you. I shared it with my Patreon people. I shared it with my followers on Substack, and I bring it to you. I don't have a sale nearly enough. Maybe I had one in the very first year that I started, and I'm beginning my 7th year, which is insane. And I want to thank you guys for the amazing words of encouragement that you offer me here on this platform and others. But I am offering a 30% off on these new books until Monday night at midnight and, read them. You will learn. Trust me, you will learn a lot of things that you didn't know. And with that, I will say happy reading, happy end of summer, and talk soon. Bye.